my bullying story. Quick disclaimer. I will be talking about, well, bullying, depression, suicide, mental health. If you hear my cat, ignore her. I'm doing this in the bathroom so she doesn't try to interrupt like the last 2 times. Um, and third of all, no hate towards anyone. I won't be mentioning names. I won't be mentioning people or institutions because I don't want that kind of hate. But I will be mentioning my parents and I don't want no hate towards them. They're great people. I'll be explaining why I didn't speak up to them soon. But yeah, so let's start. It all started when I was 5 years old. At the age of 5, I had an ADHD diagnosis. And with that diagnosis came a lot of issues. Mostly issues with my teachers and my classmates. You can even say or tell that I was bullied because of my ADHD and my asthma, but mostly my ADHD. It all started with preschool. In preschool, my teachers didn't treat me well. Raquel, you're not doing this work because you take too long. Raquel, stop losing focus. Concentrate. You gotta finish quick. Raquel, you're gonna do this work at home because I don't have time to wait for you. Raquel, you need to hurry up like the others. I don't need you to be the only one left behind. I have stuff to do. And stuff like that. In prep, I was even once given a sticky note where it said, "You are slow." No. Usted es lerda. Yeah. And I cried a lot because I understood what that meant. And I was so hurt because I didn't understand why I was slow or why my classmates were quicker than me. And I didn't understand what was going on. I understood less what was going on in my brain. And I didn't understand why people treated me differently if I was like the other kids. I was the same age, right? So that was preschool. First grade came along and now my teacher stopped bullying me, but now it was my classmates. And this was a generation of around 80 people. And most of them would either be bystanders or they would actually bully me. They would call me a retard or a loser, or they would call me an idiot or dumb or stupid. And I know you might be thinking, but that's just that's nothing. But as a 7-year-old, that was a lot. Why? Because I only wanted a friend like most people. I only wanted to hang out with someone, go out to play after school, the usual. I just wanted a friend. So getting called all these things because of something that I couldn't control, not fair. I was also called a turtle. A lot. And I was always told, "Oh, Raquel, you're the turtle from The Turtle and the Hare, but imagine the story ends at the middle. You're never gonna win." I was like, "Oh, okay." Or if I did something, they would say, "Oh, Raquel is trying to copy us." Or they would go out of the way to start rumors, and it was horrible. Who knew first graders could be mean? But now we go into second grade, and in second grade, I was having a harder time with math. So I would raise my hand and ask the teacher, "Can you explain again?" Because I didn't understand. And all of my classmates would immediately groan and be like, "Ugh, it had to be the idiot." Right? And after that, I stopped raising my hand and I just stayed confused because I didn't want to be called an idiot or stupid again because my brain couldn't comprehend numbers. And that was when my self-esteem started going from the ground to the underground. And then we go to third grade. And in third grade, I had my first accidental suicide attempt. And I say accidental because I thought that if I took more Ritalin, which is the medication that I use for ADHD, I would become a better person and I would become smarter and quicker and I would stop being called names. So I tried to overdose in Ritalin. It didn't work. Instead, I got really sick and it was bad. But that taught me that that was not gonna work and then I guess I was stuck here. I also started noticing that all of my classmates would go to different countries and I would always stay in Costa Rica. So I remember that I begged on my knees to my mom to take me to Disneyland. At least so I could talk to my classmates because again, I wanted to try to fit in. So I would do stuff to fit in, but then they would say that I'd be copying them. But I really wanted to go to Disney so I could have something cool to talk about when we came back from vacation. And so I went to Disney just to try to prove to my bullies that I could go. Later on, I found out that my parents had to take out a loan because we are a middle class family. We don't have that kind of money to go to Disney from one day to the other. We could go to the beach, but that's the farthest. And my classmates understood that. So they started calling me the poor kid. And they started saying that I was gonna wind up dead because poor people are not aren't aren't are never successful. I was also told that I should just stop getting my education because I'm gonna end up on the streets like everyone else. Which makes no sense because, again, middle class, not low class. But here we are. And now I laugh at it because I'm like, wow, that's horrible. um, and yeah, so third grade was a hard year. But then we come to fourth grade, and in fourth grade, a classmate of mine once asked me, "Hey Raquel, do you want to be pushed down the canopy?" A canopy is a game where like there's two poles, and like you just go from, and there's like a metal like rod, and you go from one side to the other. I was asked, "Do you want to be pushed?" I thought push being like this, and I would just go. No, two of my classmates ended up grabbing my ankles and started shoving me from one side to the other of the canopy to the point where I slipped and almost fractured my rib cage. And I still feel pain from that because it never actually fully healed. So sometimes when I'm doing exercise, I can feel pain there. And guess what? They were never punished for that. And that's the moment I knew the world was a cruel place. It was also a miracle because my school decided to start a stop bullying campaign. And one would think, hey, that's great. Yeah, is it though? Because we watched an American Girl movie about bullying. And after the movie ended, the person that started all of this bullying came up to me and said, hey, Raquel, I'm sorry for bullying you. I hope you forgive me. And she left. And I felt so hurt because you made everyone start bullying me. She didn't realize how big the consequence was. And I think she never did. I don't know. And I I felt so hurt that she just came up to me like it was nothing. Like, oh, it was just a simple joke. And I I felt so hurt that I spiraled down and attempted to take my life again. And I just remember my mom knocking on my door after I locked it, saying, "Hey Raquel, it's time to go to bed, and also unlock your door because what if there's an earthquake?" And I immediately stopped what I was doing and was in fear because I was so scared of what I was gonna do. And I felt so lost. I and all that was on my mind was, how dare she come up and apologize without fixing her the problem she started. Um, and that was fourth grade. I'm trying not to cry because this is not the first time I've told my story, but some parts just hit again. That was fourth grade. In fifth grade, while we were in the middle of an anatomy class, we were in the middle. We were in the middle of a respiratory system project, and my classmate just told me, "I hope your lungs choke you out one day." And I couldn't say anything. Because how can you be so cruel? How can you be so mean? I never did anything and you're just upfront me. I don't know. I still don't know. I still don't have the answer. And that was that. And fifth grade, yeah, it was the same. Name calling. You're a retard. You're a loser. You're an idiot. You're stupid. I hope you die. You're never gonna be successful. You're poor. You're never gonna make it. And sixth grade came along, and nearing the end of the half of sixth grade, I couldn't do anymore. I would enter the shower and immediately start crying, screaming, "I don't want to go to school. I want to die. I don't want to go to school. I want to die. I want to die." And I would have panic attacks every day in the shower until my mom had to step in. And that was the first time ever that my mom got a notice of what was going on, because I never told her anything because she was always so stressed over work and trying to make a salary for all of us to live comfortably. And I never told my dad because I wanted to make him proud, because he also graduated from that school and I wanted to make him proud of me. and so I never said anything, and now I regret it so much because I learned that my problems were important. They were never another issue in the list. I learned that my dad has always been proud of me and that I didn't need to prove myself when it was already true. And that was, I couldn't do it anymore. It's still a miracle how I didn't have another attempt at that time. But I remember that that was the moment when Amanda's Todd story um, became viral, and my dad got a notice of it, and he came up to me and he said, Raquel, if you ever need to talk, I'm here for you. And I remember telling him that I wanted to switch schools because I couldn't deal with the bullying anymore. And he was like, but Raquel, you're in sixth grade. You have just a couple of years left before you graduate. And I was like, I can't, because if I stay there, I'm gonna be the next headline on the newspaper. And his face of shock when I said that. How can a father ever hear their daughter say they want to kill themselves? That was the moment everyone understood this was not a joke. This was not a tiny issue. This was big. And so I remember that my mom started the processes um of changing schools, and the school wouldn't let my mom switch me or give me my test scores and my all of the things she needed to move me, because this was just a generational issue that needed to be fixed. This was not a case of bullying. And I was like, and my mom was so angry because not even the school acknowledged that I was a case of bullying. And I still, to this day, never got their support. They always said it was a generational problem, that they would talk to the students and that I should just stay because things were gonna get better. But things don't get better like that. And so I finally moved schools and I became a workaholic because I was so scared of being called stupid or dumb or an idiot again that I just started working my ass off 24/7. If someone asked me to go out, I would say no because I had to study, because I didn't want to be the dumb one. I started thinking that having friends was stupid and a dumb idea. I started believing that I didn't deserve friends because clearly elementary school taught me that. I started having extremely dysphoric ideologies that when I was 17 and a project that I had been working my ass off failed, I had another attempt and I ended up in emergency therapy because I tried to take my life over a project that didn't work out. And I understood that I did have a voice, that I always had a voice, and that I could always ask for help, that the only person that can ask help is yourself. And I don't regret going through all of that, but I do regret not speaking sooner. And that's always gonna be something on my mind, is that I never spoke. Gosh, okay. Give me a sec. Is that I never spoke. Gosh, okay. I never said anything. I thought that my problems were nothing compared to the others. And that's not true. I have a voice. I have a very strong voice. My problems are not I'm lesser than the others. My problems are as important as other people's problems. I am worthy of friends. I am worthy of love. And sure, I forgave all of you. Every person out there that bullied me or was a bystander, I forgive you. but that does not take away the nightmares, the constant judgment that I face when I look at myself in the mirror. That does not take away the loss of memories, because my brain decided to build amnesia walls to try and make me forget about what happened, to make things just so I could continue on living. Um, that doesn't take away all of the suffering, all of the suffering that I'm still having to work on, and it does not remove the feeling of disappointment. And now, and now I'm here telling my story at the age of 20. You might be thinking, why are you telling your story now? Because I think it's the right time to tell my story. I feel like I am emotionally prepared to share it to the world. That I, Raquel Moya, I'm a survivor of 3 suicide attempts. I'm a survivor of bullying. And I am a survivor of having to deal with bullying because of my ADHD. I survived my ADHD. I'm still here. I'm still alive. And it's a story that has been stuck here for a really long time. But I think it's time to tell the world. So, if you ever need to know, is that you have a voice. You're strong. And someone is out there waiting to hear you talk. So don't be afraid like I was. It's scary. I'm not taking away that, but don't be a wuss like me and keep quiet. Yeah. So yeah. Bye.